Ha? Was willst du von mir? But do you really think that girl is going around taking revenge from beyond the grave? Consider this. What if Michio Shiraishi never died? But seeing as you've come this far, I'm sure you already know the truth, don't you? And so, I would have you answer me a question. Where in Honjo was Michio Shiraishi at the hour of 8 o'clock this morning? Was? I don't know. Warte, um 8 Uhr heute Morgen. Um 8 Uhr in der Morgen kann sie nicht in der Schule gewesen sein. Theoretisch müsste sie da gewesen sein. Weiß es nicht. Ich sag hier. Hey, I see. Though that's what you think. Let's take a moment to reconsider what you know and choose again, shall we? Oh, fuck! Also in der Schule kann sie ja nicht gewesen sein. Maragata Candy Shop Senoia. Oh, ich weiß es echt nicht. Oh. Kinchibori Park vielleicht? Da ist doch der andere gestorben heute Morgen. Uhr heute Morgen. Shigima Residence. War bei ihr heute Morgen jemand? Nein. South Verigessui Street. Bridge. Keine Ahnung. War es in der Schule? Ich glaub's nicht. Okay, ich klicke jetzt einfach mal drauf. Ich weiß es nämlich einfach nicht. Ich weiß doch nicht, wo die um 8 Uhr heute Morgen gewesen sein soll. Very well. Congratulations, you are correct. Okay. You got it wrong 5 times. Well, it's a trivial matter. It may have been easier to reach that conclusion had you considered the cause of death. Let's get back to the story then, shall we? I've taken up enough of your time. Ja, hast du. Du hast mich gestresst, Junge. What? So you really think Michio Shiraishi is alive? Just think it through and it all becomes obvious. It tracks, but do you really think that girl could manage all of this? First of all, Erio, go report this to HQ. Understood. I get on it right away. I'll start investigating this place. It sure isn't lacking in stuff that needs a looking at. There's a bunch of photos of the same person pasted on the wall over there. Huh? Whoa, now, hold on. These photos? These are all of Fumichika Nejima. Gross. Really? Come to think of it, he was in the papers a lot back in the day. Oh, there's even more pasted up over here. There's are all cutouts from newspapers and magazines about the Nejima murders. I don't get it. Why the weirdo shrine? Let's keep looking around. This sliding door leads to the kitchen. It barely fits the frame. It's off-putting to look at, but I can't help but wonder what in the world this is. They're magical runes. They're used in Western black magic rituals. Most of the time, they're useless imitations, though I wouldn't get too excited about it. Oh my, who knew the chief inspector was such an expert on the occult? I just chanced upon that information. That girl with the spirit sense we mentioned, she's pretty informed on the subject. Hmm. Someone was attempting to perform Western black magic in this place. Pretty absurd, if you ask me. Of course, the person in question was that serious about it. Ah. Look at these pictures of Fumichika and Ejima are cut out from newspapers and magazines. Whoever put these up was obsessed. I wonder what their intent was. You think the Shiraishis are somehow connected to Nejima's case? Perhaps they did this to not forget a grudge or something. It's crazy to think Nejima might be involved in all this too. Do you think he might have anything to do with the body here? Maybe. The man's already out on parole. He's a curse bearer with the curse stone now. He announced that from sundown today he'll be going on a killing spree. Oh dear! There's an emergency search underway as we speak, but no one's yet managed to get a hold of the bastard. So he hasn't changed his way. That doesn't bode well. Tell you the truth, the lady here isn't completely unconnected from the Nijima murders either. You don't say. That's right, we talked about it last night. 20 years ago I found the hand in Sumida River that brought the incident to light. You don't say. You were the kid from back then? You were really brave. You did a great deed. Were you the detective I spoke with? I had no idea. So you two have met before. Fancy that. I've been worried that Fumichika Nejima might be a resentment towards you, ma'am. You might be right. Unf Unfortunately, that asshole is quite the reasonful type. Oh dear. That asshole, I wonder who put the idea into his head. And now he's got the one-sided read too. He's threatening to massacre the people of Honjo at sundown. Seriously? On top of that, he's been itching to get revenge on me as well. Of all things, the man's gone and threatened to kill my daughter. Damn, that's quite the truth. Certainly, you can't afford to stay put here. The fucker wants to get us all antsy. When I finally get to arresting him, it'll be with a cool head. Not gonna give him the pleasure, huh? Well, if Iwai and Fumichika Nejima have anything to do with each other, then this room might hold a clue to Nejima's location. Let's hope though. The person who put all the photos up must have been obsessed with Nejima. They might have had some relation to Nejima's victims, or perhaps it was the opposite. The opposite? What if it wasn't loathing but admiration? But then if it's the same man in every picture, is that Fumichika Nejima? Wow, this is quite the spectacle. I don't think I'll ever manage to erase this from my mind. Don't worry, Rishta. You're quite the spectacle yourself. Do you mean to compare me with the likes of a bizarre criminal? These aren't just cut from publications. They even snapped a number of shots of their own. They must admired him. Why else would they have collected so many pictures? Whatever the case, it's certain they were obsessed. With the window and storm shutter closed, no lights gets in here at all. It's pitch black. The neighbors mentioned they started to keep the house shut like this not long ago. This drawer is really old. Chief Inspector, do you mind if I look inside? Huh? I mean, in normal cases only the police would be allowed to touch things, right? Right, Iri isn't here, so let me take a look at it. There's just clothes in here, not much variety either. Can't say they were big spenders. Well, I was hoping to find a kind of talisman here, but I guess we're not so lucky. I see. Thank you anyway. It looked like the things spread around here have been like this for a while now. This ritual or whatever was something he attempted up to recently. Plenty of the neighbors mentioned having heard strange mantras-like noises coming from here during the night. You think Iwai was the one chanting? Hard to say, could been one of the Shiraishis as well. If we look through these books in the back, we might learn whatever it is they were trying to do. There's nothing around to confirm his identity, but by the looks of him I'd say he's Kankichiro Iwai. You've seen him before? I heard he had a criminal record, so I assumed he wouldn't have held a respectable occupation. Is this what a curse does to a person? Ma'am, it'd be better not to look so closely. It's amazing. Alter. Cruel is what it is. What do you say, Chief? Would you let me look through it if I wore clothes? Well, it's not like I'm any help with foreign language. Go ahead. Thank you. This seems to be a book on Western magic, black magic. The same runes are written here alongside detailed description of the procedures. I suppose you'd call these grimoires. It's all a bunch of nonsense if you ask me, though. You think this Iwai guy was studying them? Perhaps to perform some kind of ritual? There are a bunch of handwritten notes beside the grimoires, whoever it was. They were serious about this. Iwai doesn't look the type to be into this stuff, but you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. But why would he be studying black magic? According to the material, this here rune is for the restoration of youth. Perhaps he was trying to become young again. His over here seems to be black magic related to resurrection. Each one of these spells requires a human sacrifice. Talk about dangerous. Resurrection? Like the ride? I guess no matter what part of the world, people will turn to the occult for similar reasons. Hmm? What is it? What is it? This looked like a journal. It's probably Iwai's. A journal? Hmm? His writing is surprisingly thorough. It's almost as if he was writing a report for someone. Oh wow, now this is something. What is it? What did he write? This is quite the find. Let me give you a summary. So this Kankichiro Iwai fellow, he'd been searching for a spell to restore youth for years. So he was into black magic from the start? He believed if he could learn to successfully perform the spell, he could then use it to earn a fortune. To tell you the truth, it seems he was already getting funded after he acquired this grimoire. You don't say? This is starting to sound kind of familiar. But first, let's find out how we got his hands on this grimoire. It seemed that Nijima told him where he could obtain the book when they were both in prison. What? That's nearly too much of a coincidence. Likely not coincidence. It seems like Iwai took an interest in the Nijima murders after it made the news. He admired him a rather personality. You might even say he worshipped the man. Worship? Nijima of all people? This was a time when students were itching to rebel. Anyone who did something to shake the world was bound to gather admirers. Eva had been collecting these photos ever since that time, and since he had just so happened to land in prison at the same time as Nijima, he made sure to get in contact. This is a lot. I mean, even having it all laid out like this, the thought of Nijima being involved with these grimoires is staggering. I don't think we ever had anything pointing to that. What the connection? To be honest, it's a shock to me too. For years, We've been scratching our heads over to motives behind the Nejima murders. Yup, it's been a mystery to us all from the very start. Wow, now. Wait just 1 minute. Do you think? No way. Are you saying? That's right. The murders might have been for a ritual. He was attempting to perform black magic. The instructions written down for the sacrificial offering match up exactly with the acts carried out by Nejima. You've gotta be kidding me. So that sadistic crap he was doing was all for black magic? That's what the evidence suggests. However, Nejima tried to do some type of resurrection ritual, but Eva had different motives. Chief Inspector, you might think this is all the stuff of fantasy, but that doesn't refute that Nejima and Eva were both acting in earnest. This is batshit insane. You're telling me that Nutjob did this all for some hokey-pokey resurrection? Shit, resurrection. That means there must be someone Nejima wanted to bring back to life. Damn, that's it. That has to be it. Fucking hell, it all makes sense now. What is it? So about the Nejima murders. There's some information that's being kept from the public. Go on. When we broke into his house and arrested him, we also found a baby. A baby? It was a girl, looked to be about 6 months old, but she was covered in filth. She looked so weak and sickly. We called the medics right away. If we were a second later, I'm sure the girl would have died. So was Nejima the father? He told us he'd found her under a bridge. Found her? She was abandoned? I've heard of parents threatening to leave their child under a bridge as a threat, but to think it really happens? I suppose there are those cases with the dead newborns found stuffed in coin lockers, so it's not without precedence. Whatever the case, we never found out the truth. But there's one rumor from back then that I could never get out of my mind. And it's starting to sound more likely now? Well, I'm sure this isn't the first time you've heard of it. Many believe Nejima's guilty of more crime than what got him convicted. Back then, a lot of girls went missing. Yeah, I remember all of that. Among the high school girls that might been murdered, or maybe I should say sacrificed, was a girl who was pregnant. Goodness, that's horrific. He killed her and dismembered her body, and we thought maybe the baby we found is what he pulled out from inside of her. Don't misunderstand me, this is all speculation on top of more speculation here, but I for one never believed